Welcome to the Foundations module. Before we dive into individual design patterns, we need to answer a more basic question. Why do these patterns exist in the first place, and why should you care? That is exactly what this video is about. The real value patterns bring to a code base, and the real risks of reaching for them at the wrong time. Here is the pain that patterns address. Certain design problems show up again and again across completely different projects. How do you decouple a producer from its consumers? How do you swap algorithms at runtime? Each team tends to invent its own solution from scratch, and those solutions are inconsistent, hard to test, and even harder for a new engineer to understand without reading every line. The problem is not a lack of skill, it is a lack of shared reusable design knowledge. Think about how architects work. When a client asks for a family home, the architect does not rederive the physics of load-bearing walls from first principles. They reach for established blueprints that encode generations of hard-won structural knowledge. The blueprint is not the finished house, it is an adaptable template. Design patterns are the software equivalent, proven structural templates you adapt to your specific context, carrying the experience of thousands of engineers who faced the same problem before you. Patterns give you three concrete benefits. First, vocabulary. When a senior engineer says use a strategy here, every team member who knows patterns immediately understands the structure being proposed, no lengthy whiteboard session needed. Second, encoded experience. A pattern is not just a solution, it comes with documented trade-offs that took the community years to discover. Third, decoupling. Patterns consistently separate the parts of a system that change from the parts that stay stable, which is the foundation of maintainable code. Let us look at a concrete before and after to see why naming matters. In the first version, order processor has a chain of if-else branches, one per shipping type. Adding a new type means opening and modifying this class every time, which is fragile and hard to test in isolation. In the second version, we introduce a shipping strategy interface with a single calculate method. Express shipping and standard shipping each implement that interface with their own logic. Order processor now receives a strategy through its constructor and just calls calculate. It never needs to change when a new shipping type is added. The moment a teammate sees the word strategy, they instantly know the structure, a stable context, a swappable behavior interface, and concrete implementations. That shared vocabulary is doing real work. Under the hood, every pattern is essentially a prescription for how a group of objects should collaborate. The key move is always the same: identify what is likely to change, hide it behind a stable interface or abstract class, and let callers depend only on that stable contract. This is what makes the system open to extension without requiring edits to existing code. The cost, and this is important, is indirection. Your codebase gains more files, more interfaces, and more layers to trace through. Whether that cost is worth paying depends entirely on whether the variation the pattern handles is real and recurring in your specific system. This is the judgment call that separates experienced engineers from those who just learned patterns. Reach for a pattern when you genuinely have recurring variation, when the same structural problem has come up more than once, when you know behavior will be extended by others, or when shared vocabulary will save real communication time across a team. Skip the pattern when a plain function does the job in 5 lines, when the problem is a one-off, or when adding the abstraction makes the code harder to trace than it was before. Applying a pattern where none is needed is called cargo culting, and it creates complexity with no payoff. So here is what to take away. Patterns matter because they give teams a shared language, they package decades of design experience, including the trade-offs, and they consistently guide you toward decoupled, extensible structures. But they are not free. Every pattern adds indirection, and that indirection only pays off when the variation it manages is real and recurring in your system. Keep that filter in mind as we study each pattern in the modules ahead, and you will apply them with genuine judgment rather than mechanical habit.